the idea about function. So I have already discussed little about this function. Today I will discuss it elaborately. Now, what is the meaning of function? That is very simple. The function is any work or task that you have to perform. Okay? So generally in case of C language, there are two types of functions. One which is already defined, or you can say built-in. Sometimes you can say library function. These are the different terms used for those functions which are already defined in the already defined in the compiler. So these functions already defined in the compiler. And there is another function, another type of function, which basically we uh, generate, we define for our own purpose. That's why those are called user defined function. So you already know this because I've already told about this. And the next thing is, if you want to create any function, or if you want to call any function, for a particular function, there are basically three parts. One part is called function definition, or you can say declaration. Okay. The next thing, that is function calling. Okay. And there is another thing which is optional, not always required, that is function prototype. And if you remember first day's class that we have discussed, what is the meaning of function prototype? Function prototype means, why it is optional? Because if we define a function before its call, if we define a function before its call, then no need to give this prototype. But if we define a function after its call, then we must have to add the function. That's why this part is optional. Now, how to write or function definition? What is the syntax of function definition? If you remember, just recapitulate it. First, you have to write the return type. Okay. Then you have to give the function name. Then the function symbol, this one. Inside this, we have to give first the data type and argument name 1, comma, data type, argument name 2, comma, dot, 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 like this. Okay. So these are the different arguments that are required in case of any function. Then you have to provide the braces, curly braces. Within this curly braces, you have to write the definition of the function. You have to write the definition of the function. Okay. So basically, in case of function writing, user-defined function writing, there are three main parts. First one, this one, return type. Then the function name. Okay. Then the arguments. So these three parts you have to remember. Now, what is the return type? If you remember first day's class, and there is one limitation for return type, a function can return single value. Function can return a single value. Now I can give you one example. Suppose making fruit juice. Making fruit juice. That is one kind of function. To make fruit juice, you need some mixer. Suppose you need a mixer through which you can create some fruit juice. Okay. So this is the function. This is the function. Now what you will provide? You will provide apple. Suppose mixed fruit. So suppose you are providing with apple, you are providing suppose some other fruits, some grapes. So you are providing these things into the mixer. So these are the arguments. These are the arguments. And after mixing all these things, remember you will get a single juice. A single juice will be provided. It means, so these are the arguments. This is the return type. See, only single value is returned, so a single mixed fruit juice will be extracted. You cannot get, if you are providing two different arguments, means one apple, one grape, are you expecting two different types of juice? No, you will get a single juice. So that's why it means a single output will be returned from the function, and this mixture or making fruit juice is the function. Okay, so now if you, okay, so this is function definition. The next thing is function calling. Now in case of function calling, if a function returns something, if a function returns something, then it function calling will be like this: variable name equal to function name, comma, argument name 1, comma, argument name 2, semicolon, dot, 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 simple. If a function returns something, if function not return anything, then your function calling will be like this: function name, comma, argument name 1, argument name 2, dot, dot, dot. Am I clear? So if a function is returning something, then you have to store the return value in some variable. Since this function is returning something, so you have to store it. So your function calling will be like this. If the function is returning nothing, then it will be called simple like this. I will give you an example, no problem. Okay, so this is how to write function definition, and this is how to call a function. Now take a look. Now depending on the return type and argument numbers, comma, types, there are different types of function. Depending on what? Depending on return type or return value, not return type, return value, and argument numbers, argument types, there are different types of function. And the first one is function returning something and taking arguments. This is sometimes called with return value and with arguments. So this is one type of function. It means this type of function will take some arguments and it will return something. And remember, this is the ideal function type. Why this is the ideal function type? Because I have given you one example in the last class that I want to submit the electricity bill. To submit the electricity bill, I am calling someone else. So that someone else, to that someone else, I have to provide the electricity bill and the money. Those are the arguments. So my function, electricity bill submission, is with argument, and that person, after giving the electricity bill and money, he will return me the receipt. So this is the return value. So this is the ideal case of any function. If I am giving something to a function, it should return something to me. Or you can say I am expecting something from the function. See, I have given you the example in the last class that main is user-defined function. Who is calling main? Operating system is calling main, and main should return a value to the operating system to give the guarantee that main had successfully completed the job. That's why the return type is in, because main will return some integer value 0, 1, minus, negative value, those having differing meanings to the operating system. Generally, return 0 will be represented as successfully completed to the operating system. Return 0 is represented as successfully completed the job. This is the representation to the operating system. So this is the ideal case for any function, that it should take some argument and in return it will give some value. Suppose I am giving two integer value to add, it will give me the added value. Suppose I am giving two arguments, which one is greater, it will return me the greater value. Which one is minimum, it will return me the minimum value. Among these elements, which one is the prime number, it will return me the prime number. So this is the logic of ideal function. But there may be other types, suppose with return value and without argument. I will give you example for all those things and how we can write it. But remember, this is the basic type. And in these cases, in the other types, what I will do, I will just modify the coding to make it with return value and without argument. And then without return value and with argument. And then the last one is without return value and without argument. Okay. Now let's check. Let's see. So I'm giving one simple example. Add two given numbers using an user-defined function. Okay, so this is my problem. I have to add to integer number. Consider add to integer numbers, given number. Given numbers mean that number should be provided by the user. So you have to take the inputs. That's the meaning of given numbers. Okay. So let's write the add function first, and I am first trying the number one type, that is with argument with return value. So when we are, so suppose the first you have to give some name. So I'm giving one name add. Now this function name is almost like your variable name. Means it should not be any keyword. It should not start with a number. It can be start with underscore and letter. Okay. So this rule will be also true for this function name. So suppose I have created a function name add. Okay. Then Inside this, I will write the arguments, and at the first part, I will write the return type. Return type means the value that will be returned from the function, which type of value it is returning. So I have to write the type. So since I am adding two integer value, it should return one integer value. So the return type is int. Okay. Then I am adding two integer values. So I will provide two integer arguments, int a, int b. Is it clear? See, match it with the definition of function, how to write. First return type, then function name, then data type with argument name. Data type with argument name. So I have written it here. See, this is the data type and this is the argument name. Argument name means variable name. Okay. Then the definition. Then the definition. So what it will do? It will add the values and it will return the value. Okay. So I'm directly writing return a plus b. So the sum value will be returned. Now, so I have defined the function before it's called. Now I am writing the main function, int main. Okay. Now in this main function, what is the first thing I have to do? First thing is I have to declare the variables that I am going to use. So suppose I am using int a comma b. Now I am taking another variable r. Why I am taking r? Because I have already told you that in function, if function returns something, then when I will call the function, I will store the return value in some variable. See here, I will store the value in some variable. When? If a function returns something. Since this add function will return some integer value, so I will store it in one integer variable. That's why I am declaring another variable r. AB for taking input to add the two given integer numbers and r to store the result value. Okay. Now the next thing, what I will do, I will give the instruction to the user that enter two integer numbers. Okay. Printf within quotation, new line, enter two integer numbers. Then next, what I have to do, I have to write the scanf, take the inputs. Since it is integer, so I will write %d. Since I am taking two integer, so 2% decimal. Then since it is scanf, if you remember first class, ampersand a, address of variable a, then ampersand b, address of variable b. Okay, done. After that, the next thing what I have to do, I have to call the function next. So this is my inputs. This is my inputs. Then the next thing what I have to do, I have to call the function. Since it is returning, so according to the syntax of function calling, if function returns something, I will write it like this. First variable name r, where I will store the return value. Then function name whom I am calling, and then only the argument names. Remember this thing. If you see the syntax, see argument name 1, argument name 2, no data type. But when I am defining, I have to give data type with argument name. So this is the function calling. And then after the function calling, what I will do, I will again print the result, the R. So I will print it like this. Sum of %d and %d is colon %d. This first %d representing A, second %d representing B, this third one is the result. Sorry, so R. And then if you are using Turbo C, you have to use get ch. If you are using GCC, no need to use get ch. So your program time. And remember, this is your output. Okay. And what is this? This is your function calling. Again, these two are also function calling, but this two function already defined. This is similarly this one also. These are function calling. This is function calling for an user defined function, and this is function calling for built-in function. So this is your whole program, and how it will be executed. How it will be executed, and obviously you have to give the hash include stdio.h. Okay. Now how it will be done or executed? So your execution will start from, let us take another color, let us this BGP color. So it will start from this statement, correct? Because our compiler will start execution from main function. First it will start the main function. Okay, then it will go into this line. It means memory will be allocated, and this memory allocation will be done at compile time, not run time. So these are the three memories. Since these are integer, so normal turbo C size of integer is 2 bytes. If you are using GCC, the integer size is 4 bytes. So I am considering turbo C. So 2 bytes. This one, this one, this one. Let the address of this one is alpha, this one is beta, this one is gamma. Three different addresses. Okay. And what is the name of this address location? A. What is the name of this address location? B. What is the name of this address location? R. And remember one thing, initially there will be garbage values. Now you can obviously ask what is garbage value. Garbage values mean, since we are using the same memory space of RAM again and again to run a program, so the same memory space may be utilized by other programs or other softwares. So in that, those memory location, already some values are stored. Now when we are allocating some memory, this memory is having some initial values which already allocated by previous program or previous software. So those values are called garbage values. So initially there will be some garbage values. Okay. Then when I am writing this printf statement and then taking inputs, so according to this input statement, it will store some value. Suppose for A I have given 5, for B I have given 7. Okay. So the next statement that it will execute printf, then the scanf, then whenever it will get the function calling, the control will move into the function definition. So see, whenever a function calling is encountered, the control is automatically moving upwards. That is very important. So that's why we are writing the function above the main function. So always the control will move to upwards. So now it will move to this function. Now this A, B, what is the meaning of A? The meaning of A is actually 5. What is the meaning of B? The meaning of B is 7. Okay. So this 5 will be assigned into this A. It means inside this function, there will be two more variables, A and B. They will have different address value, alpha 1, beta 1. Clear? And this statement will be modified to like this, int A equal to 5. Am I clear? This 5 is now assigned to this variable A. Then this statement will be modified to int B equal to 7. This 7 is now assigned to this B. So 7. Clear? Then it will return the A plus B. Now this A plus B means this one. these two local variables, okay, and then the control again move to this part. After this return statement, return means it will return, so control return to the main function, the function which one is calling this add function. So again control move into the main function, and in this main function what it will do, it will print the output. Now see, the return value is stored into R, means this R is now modified to 5 plus 7, that is 12. So the output statement will be 5, will print sum of 5 and 7 is 12. So this is the final output. Okay, logic clear? How the control is moving from one part to another part. And see, for this reason, since this A and B actually passing the values, for this reason, this is called, this function calling is called call by value. I will discuss it about this call by value in later classes. But for just now, consider that this is called call by value. Why? Because ultimately, when we are calling two variables or we are passing two variables, actually we are passing the values of those variables. And those values is assigned to this A and B. And remember, here the variable names are A, B. You can give any other name into this. It is not required that the same with same name, you can give other name also. You can give your own name also. But it should follow, it should not be, it should follow the nomenclature of the keywords. Sorry, nomenclature of the variable. Okay. So this is the basic concept of how we can call a function and how the control will move here and there. Okay. Now the same function, now what I will do, I will write the same function with other type also. See, suppose the next one with return value and without argument. Okay. So with return value, it means my function will return something. Logic clear? And then without argument, so I am not passing any value. Okay. So how to write this definition? And how to write the main function? The main function. See, how I am writing the main function. So inside main, I am just declaring R, no other thing. Then I am printing printf the sum is %d. I am printing the value R. Oh, sorry, I have to call it. I have to write the calling here. I have to write the function calling here. So since the function is returning, so I will call it like this as the variable name, then the return type, then the function name. No argument, blank, semicolon. Then I will print the value. Printf sum is %d. I will print the value of R. This is the main function. Now see how I am writing the add function. Inside add function, I am declaring two variables. Then I am writing printf enter two values. Then I am taking scanf %d, %b, %a, %b. Then I am returning a plus b. Are you getting how I am changing the statements and I am getting the different type of function? Just what I have done, I have just taken the inputs instead of main function. I have taken the inputs in the called function. It means in the add function. Then I am returning the value. How can you justify this? The justification is like this, very interesting. Suppose you want to drink some juice. You don't have a mixer. Try to understand. Suppose you want to drink some juice, fruit juice, but you don't have a juicer. So what you will do? But your friend have a juicer. So what you will do? You will bring some fruits, and you will pass the fruits to your friend. Then your friend will mix the juice, and he will return you the juice. So you are passing the fruits, means you are giving the arguments, and then he is returning you the juice. Okay, this is function type 1 with argument with return value. Now this one, the concept is like this. You don't have fruits, you don't have mixer, juicer. So you called your friend, please bring some fruits. So you are calling. So I am calling the function add. I'm calling my friend and I'm telling him that please bring some fruits and make juice and give it to me. So that's why my friend bought some fruits and giving me the juice in return time. Logic clear? So this is the second type. So by changing the statements, you will able to write the other two types also. So the other two types are your homework, your home task. You have to write the other two types of functions, type 3 and type 4. I'm giving the concept of the other two functions. Suppose without return value, without argument. How can you justify that? Without return value, without argument. Justification is like that, that you don't have fruit, you don't want to drink juice. What you are doing? You are calling your friend, you are asking your friend, bring some fruit, make juice and drink it. So whatever input and output, that will be totally written in the add function. From main function, what you will do, you will just call it. So in this way, only changing the position of the statements, you can write different types of functions. But remember one thing, the best ideal function is it should take some value and it will return some value. Okay. Now you can ask me, sir, what happened in case of printf function? See, this is very interesting. What is happening in case of printf function? Is it taking some input? Yes. Printf is taking some input. What is the definition of printf? If you remember, printf. So first is format string. You have to give the format, %d, %a, whatever. Okay. Then you have to give the arguments. So this is the syntax. But remember, on that day, I have not written another thing. It is in printf. Now, what do you mean by this in printf? In printf means printf also returns some value. So printf return integer value. Okay. If means only 3 to 4 minutes left. If it closed, then please rejoin. Okay. So now just try to understand what is happening here. Suppose I am writing a simple printf statement. Printf RCC IIT. Okay. And then since according to my definition according to definition, printf have a return type in. So if I call printf, then it should be called like this according to the definition of function calling. And this variable x must be integer because printf is returning integer. But we don't need this variable. We don't need this variable, this return value. That's why we not use or we don't call it as x equal to printf. But printf will return some value. And whom it is returning? Again, it is returning to the compiler. Okay. So if I write it like this, And then if I want to check what it is printing, means what is stored in X, by writing like this, X equal to new line, X equal to %d, the value of X, then you will surprised those who don't know, they obviously they will only surprise. You will surprise to see the output. The output will be like this. First, it will print the printf statement, this RCCIIT, RCCIIT. And in next, for next printf, it will print X equal to 6. Now the question is how this 6 value is coming and what does the meaning of this 6 value. Now see, the function or the purpose of printf function is like this. Printf function is used to print something. So I have given this number of characters to printf to print in the screen. So in return, printf will give me how many characters, remember these characters, it successfully printed. That value it will return. So there are how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will return 6, integer value 6. So that's why when I am printing X, it is giving me the output 6. Okay, so please rejoin after the close of this session. I will show you in Turtle.